And as that happens, as you tune in to what's going on inside of you, align that with higher thoughts and beliefs so that you raise your vibration, your physical reality has to reflect that increased vibration back to you in the form of positive things happening in your life. That is what I call the charmed life. Welcome to Worthiness Wednesday. I'm Perry Gruber, the Enlightenment Guy. For over a decade, I've helped people master their mindsets so they can live lives they love and get the results in their lives without the burnout or the hustle. And today, I'm bringing you a truly astounding story. An experience of a client who this week, over 4 days, manifested so much evidence of what I talk about in the positively focused practice. So much evidence that his life experience is a mirror reflecting everything that's going on inside of him. And as a result of that realization, the client finds himself mastering his mindset and getting a life he loves without the burnout or the hustle. It's so funny. That phrase that I start my videos with is so accurate and perfectly describes how this client, I'm going to call him Markus, realized what was going on in his life experience over the last 4 days. And as a result of that, tuned himself in to the clarity that brought him into joy as he went through this experience. So let's jump in and talk about what happened. Last week, he was invited to a pumpkin carving party, and his wife couldn't go. She had a friend who was coming to visit. Now, everyone in your reality, everyone in my reality, is a manifestation we are creating of that person. It is a reflection. Each person in our reality is a reflection of our thoughts and beliefs about that person. And so this client, Markus, decided, along with his wife, that he was going to go to this party on his own and that his wife was going to stay home and entertain her friend that was going to show up that same night. So when the night came, the wife asked Markus how long he was going to be, and he told her that he'd be home pretty early. And so he went to the party. But before he went to the party, earlier in that day, he was doomscrolling on Instagram. This is something the client is wrestling with in his life, as many people are. Many people don't know what's happening when they're doing this, but Markus knows. He knows that when he dives into Instagram and his Instagram feed shows him all the terrible things that are happening in the world, not more specifically in the United States, especially around immigration. Markus is a pseudonym. This gentleman is a Latino, a person of color. And so when he gets onto Instagram, the Instagram algorithm, because he has consumed this content before, serves up an endless stream of all the experiences of immigrants and those who are allied with those people, all the experiences those people are experiencing, reflecting Markus's own disempowerment and insecurity around his status as a person of color. And so he had immersed himself in this constant stream of doom on Instagram and was feeling consciously negative. He recognized that the momentum of belief he had created as a result of focusing on Instagram had created within him a very strong negative vibration. So he put his phone down and went about his day, and then he went to this pumpkin carving pumpkin carving party. He thought he had managed his vibration, but the trouble is, once you create momentum of belief or momentum of focus, and anytime you put your attention on something, that's what you're doing, that momentum is there. And you have to contend with the manifestations that show up as a result of that. And the manifestations, because physical reality has inherent resistance, the manifestations show up a little bit later. When they show up depends on whether or not you are a match to them. And Markus, having saturated himself with the negative momentum of these stories on Instagram, was a perfect match to what was about to unfold. So at the party, Markus met a gay couple there. One of the partners in the couple is a Lebanese man whose name is Seth. And that person, during the party, was lamenting about his own fear and insecurities relative to his status as an immigrant in the United States. He also, clearly, this should be obvious, was concerned about potentially being deported to Lebanon and having to deal with that culture, which is anti-LGBT. And so Seth finds himself caught between a rock and a hard place relative to his existence, relative to his beliefs. And so he's concerned as to whether or not he should move to Lebanon proactively or wait for ICE to capture him and deport him, or wondering whether that is even going to happen, whether or not he's going to have an encounter with ICE. Meanwhile, this is so good, Markus is recognizing, as he's having a conversation with this gay couple, that this is a manifestation of his earlier doomscrolling. Here he recognized that he manifested this rendezvous where he had the opportunity to experience the height of insecurity, his own insecurity reflected back to him through this gay couple. And so Markus did what he's been trained to do. He decided to focus on the positive aspects, and he interacted with this gay couple in a way that touched the heart of both men. At the end of the conversation, at the end of the party, Markus gave both men a great big hug. Markus is I think he's like 270 pounds, so he's a large Latino man, and he loves to give hugs, so he's really good at it. So he gives these two men a hug and then goes into the kitchen. And about 30 seconds later, Seth follows him into the kitchen and says to him, "Can I have one more hug?" This was a manifestation of Markus's soothing of his negative momentum, evidenced by his ability to uplift Seth. So Markus finishes up at the pumpkin party. He hasn't checked his phone the whole time he's been there. He checks his phone when he gets into his car, and he realizes that his wife has called him. Unbeknownst to him, his wife's friend failed to show up that evening. And so his wife is home alone, and she's wondering where he is because he stayed at the party later than he said he was going to. Now, the fact that his wife is expressing negative emotion, concern, and worry about her husband is her problem. She's a client also. But for Markus, her calls and texts while he was at the party represents his collection of beliefs, his belief constellation he has about his wife. And so here she is, concerned and insecure about him not arriving home when he said he would. So he calls her and soothes her, then gets home, and they have a conversation that lasts until midnight as they both, using the positively focused practice, strive to soothe themselves. They successfully do so, and then the next day, Saturday, Markus finds himself on Facebook. On Facebook, it's like his momentum algorithm followed him from Instagram onto Facebook. On Facebook, he engages once again with the same kind of content he was engaged with on Instagram the night before or the day before. And so again, he finds himself in strong negative momentum, and this time he decides he's not going to stay on there. Instead, he's going to do something that is more productive from a vibrational perspective. So he decides he's going to go to an open mic performance. Markus is a guitar player, a very good musician and a great singer. So he decides to go to this open mic and perform there so that he can be in his element, his high vibrational element, which is being on stage performing for people. So he goes to the open mic, but he doesn't realize he still has this negative momentum inside of him from doomscrolling on Facebook now. So he gets to the bar, and I think he said he was the fourth one or the fifth one. He was the fifth one on the list for performing. Now, at this bar, as Markus describes it, each performer, I think he said they can perform 2 or 3 songs. But what happens at the bar is that each performer who gets on, according to Markus, plays like 4 or 5 songs. And by the time it's time for Markus to get on stage, it's way too late. He has to go to bed, come back home and go to bed and get ready for work the next day. He recognizes that this again is a reflection of his own negative momentum born from his doom scrolling. And so he comes back home, not upset. He just lets the fact that he didn't get to play roll off his back. He comes home on time, meets with his wife. His wife is in a better mood. They both have a good time before they go to sleep. And then the next morning, he goes to work. He wakes up, before he goes to work, he wakes up and he aligns himself with high vibration through the positively focused framework. And when he gets to work, he rendezvous with a coworker who is pregnant. And the coworker is lamenting about whether or not she is prepared to be a mother. Now, Markus is already high vibing after this experience he had in the morning. And as a result of that, just like he did with Seth and Seth's partner, he is able to uplift this woman and have her feel better about her prospects of being a mother. And as he does so, she reflects back to him his ongoing positive dominant momentum. Now here's the thing. When you've established a chronic dominant momentum, whether that momentum is positive or negative, that is what's going to show up in your life most of the time. This explains why most people's lives, even though they may have negative experiences every once in a while, most people's lives, for the most part, go pretty well. Improvement is the rule of the day. That's because all that is pure positive energy. It is predisposed toward expansion, movement toward better. And so that's why most people's lives tend to go, generally speaking, increasingly well throughout life. That's representing the dominant, almost you could say, default positive momentum of life experience. But some people's lives don't go well throughout their lives. Those people's lives get worse and worse. And that's because those people create dominant negative momentum. For example, I have a client whose sister killed herself through a drug overdose at 55. I knew that woman when she was 16. Beautiful woman who also had lots of negative psychic trouble. And as a result of that, she got on drugs at an early age, right around 16 or 18, and was on drugs her entire life. Her life did not get better. And after she passed away, her niece, who is also a client, went to a medium who channeled her dead aunt, and through that event told her niece She had bit off more than she could chew. Very, very good realization she had after transitioning. So my point is, Markus has developed, and every client who has been in the positively focused practice long enough develops a chronic state of positive momentum. They align themselves with the pure positive energy of all that is, the pure positive energy that is the basis of all that is. And so their life tends to go really well, even though every once in a while they may experience what we in the practice call a recalibration moment, an opportunity where they have to double down on their positive momentum in order to soothe any negative momentum that's happening. So here Markus was at work having this conversation with this pregnant woman in which he uplifted her into her feeling empowered as a mother. And when she reached that stage of high vibration, she expressed to him an opportunity I don't think she was aware of until she got to this high vibration, because before that, she was too focused on her own insecurity as a mother. So this did not happen until Markus assisted her in raising her vibration. When that happened, she offered to Markus a detail opportunity in her department, kind of like filling in behind him. And he was thrilled to receive that invitation because one of the things that's important to him is that he sees himself as valuable and a positive contributor at work. So here this person was offering him the opportunity to fill in behind her on a detail. Why? Because she sees him as exactly as he wants to be seen at work. She is a manifestation. In other words, she was reflecting back to him in that moment. Once she became a match to where he was vibrationally, so before she was not a match to where he was vibrationally because she was feeling insecure about her being a mother. When Markus uplifted her to see her so that she could feel empowered as a mother, she was able to reflect back to Markus what he wanted to manifest for himself in his own self-image, which was being a positive contributor to his workplace. All of this happened through the course of 4 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. And Markus was able, through the whole experience, to be aware of what was happening and to revel in all of it. Here's the thing about all that is and about this experience Markus had. When you're aware, vibrationally aware of what's happening inside of you, and you know that your life experience is a reflection of what's going on inside of you, then you can use both what's going on inside of you because you're aware of it, and what's going on outside of you as a reflection of what's going on inside of you because you're aware it's a reflection. You can use both to create for yourself what I call the charmed life. Because when you're aware of what's going on inside of you, and you're aware that what's going on outside of you is a reflection of what's going on inside of you, you can use that reflection, your physical reality, as a kind of tuning fork to tune up what's going on inside of you. And as you do that, the external reflector has to, your life experience has to reflect that back to you. And as that happens, as you tune in to what's going on inside of you, align that with higher thoughts and beliefs so that you raise your vibration, your physical reality has to reflect that increased vibration back to you in the form of positive things happening in your life. That is what I call the charmed life. The charmed life happens when you're aware of what's happening inside of you. You're aware of what's happening outside of you as a reflection of what's going on inside of you. You do something about what's going on inside of you, and then the external reflection reflects that improvement. And so your life improves. And my clients, using this process, their lives improved so dramatically that those around them wonder what's going on. What are they doing? How are their lives getting so much better? And then they want what the clients have. This is the demonstration of upliftment. And Markus's experience over the 4 days was so good. But what was so much better was that he was aware of what was going on through the whole experience. So good. Now, some people might say, well, then, if he was aware, why did he doom scroll? Well, he doom scrolled in order to have the experience of realizing where he was vibrationally on subjects that have him feeling insecure as a person of color, so that he could do something about it. If he didn't have the experience of doom scrolling, he wouldn't have known that he has some negative vibration to clean up. That's why he was doing it. Constant expansion. That's the order of the day. That's what each and every one of us is experiencing. Constant expansion. The only question is, are you aware that that's what's happening? Markus was aware. And as a result, he had a wonderful unfolding over 4 days of magical experiences reflecting back to him exactly where he is with regard to his vibrational frequency. So good. You can have this too. You don't have to become a positively focused client. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to like this video. All you have to do is tune in to your broader perspective and allow it to guide you to everything you want. So good. All right, that's it for today. What a wonderful demonstration of worthiness Markus is showing to the world. See you in the comments, and see you in the next video.